Hi, Carrie. We'll do the introduction and on later.
Okay.
We can do it. How does this festival take the Indian voices to UK audience?
I think the festival showcases a wide range of Indian cinema from the whole of India, not just the usual kind of North Indian. It has a very particular focus on South India, different states of India. It represents at least 10 South Asian languages, at least 10 languages, particularly from India, plus all the other parts of South Asia. So it's very unique in terms of that as a festival. It also, in terms of gender and dynamics, we're a very feminist first festival in terms of our aspiration is to have 40% women filmmakers in the festival. That would be an aspiration which is more than most festivals do, international festivals. I think that's exciting, and we show many different women's voices, for example, and also we're here to support young filmmakers, emerging talent, and that's very exciting. We have the Satyajit Ray short film competition, which is very popular and has many entries from around India. We also have the Tu Desi Tu Queer LGBT program, which we pioneered well ahead of it being legal, between gay rights being illegal, 377 being taken down in India. We were showcasing LGBT films, and so we're we're very supportive of that communities, and also we also showcase a wide range of films from different voices, so from different communities in India, for example. It might be different castes, different ethnicities within the culture of India. So yeah, so
you should also speak about the festival being unique because it's showcased in 6 UK cities.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I mean the festival is the biggest Indian film festival in Europe. So it's shown in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, and many other cities in the UK, which is unique. It all happens synchronously, so we have to get our talent and films all around the country in one go, which is quite exciting every July. So literally our filmmakers are going up and down on trains around the UK to do Q&As and talks to different audiences who love that kind of freshness. It's not just happening in the big city of London, it's happening in many other cities as well.
So what's your background, Carrie, and how did you start this festival? How is Prakash Jha involved in
That's
it?
a good question. Yes, so I'm my background is I'm mixed. I'm part English, part Punjabi. My dad was an Indian national, and so yes, I've got that in my genetics mix. In terms of my journey into London Indian Film Festival, I was working on the BFI London Film Festival for many years. The British Film Institute is the biggest festivals in Europe, and I was lucky enough to have an opportunity to show Prakash Jha's Mrityudand and another film as well. And the audience just went crazy about his films, and it was a great honour to have his films at the National Film Theatre in the UK. And that was showed it was also showcased a filmmaker who had crossed over not just for an Indian heart, but also had a message to the world, really, and that was very important. There were universal stories, but also very powerful social issue subject matters, which you didn't shy away from. Other filmmakers would have gone for a softer approach, but you were much more kind of entertainment, but it was a very hardcore message in your films as well, which stood out, and great acting and stuff. Obviously, he's a great actor as well, so it's a unique opportunity. So when I saw Prakash, I was very keen to ask him to be a patron of our festival to support us.
So Prakash, what made you get associated with the festival?
Well, of course, the platform that the festival offers to the new young filmmakers and diverse and different kind of cinema which is being created in India in different languages. And here was someone I have known for years who has been so passionate about curating especially the Indian cinema. Of course now a lot of Asian cinema also gets there, and innovating the whole process and showcasing. And it's not very easy to have these festivals, but he has been holding it year after year for 16 years now, and I'm happy to be able to be part of the team, try and help it out in whatever manner one can, because eventually, the independent filmmakers, the smaller filmmakers, the people who have passion for cinema, and so many times it happens that films which no one wants to see, no one picks up, and Carrie brings them to the platform and showcases them at the festival, and they happen to go to be picked up for Oscars.
Yes, we had that's good. Yeah, we had To Kill a Tiger, for example, is a film that was turned down by other UK festivals, but we showcased it at the UK premiere at the BFI South Bank, and the audience were very moved by that particular film about women's rights and in India, and that film went into the Oscar running, and then as far as I know, it's just been picked up for distribution in the US and hopefully in other parts of the world. So it was exciting to see that film journey. We were obviously one of the festivals that it was shown at first, but it was wonderful to be part of that journey and to see the filmmaker go on into greater success.
Of course, we have such festivals in India as well, the Kolkata Festival or the Kerala Trivandrum Festival or the Indian festivals. But to have it in UK, which has a huge Indian diaspora, not only Indian diaspora, I mean diaspora from every part of this country. In fact, there is a community of every state, every language, thriving in UK, and it becomes such a massive opportunity to be able to reach out.
So you have such a large number of films that you have to watch to select them. Who's your jury? What is your selection process?
Sure. Well, we don't have a jury as such. We have a programming team who watch all these films, and it's a quite tough task, because obviously, like every cinema, you have lots of good films but mainly not so good films, and you have to sift that process to find those gems that will really speak to a world audience. And our audience is pretty much it's 50% Indian but it's also 50% non-Indian. So I think that's very important that we're showing world cinema to a world audience. We're not just showing it Indian films for Indian people, and I think that's exciting that we're crossing over audiences. And so our jury has to consider the as you say, the different audiences in the UK, different Indian audiences. There's at least 15 languages in India, major languages as we know. So we have try and show at least 10 different Indian languages in our festival. So that means you have to think about your programming in terms of those different languages. I live next door, for example, to a big Malayalam community. So that's they will want to know what's happening in the Punjabis, the Gujaratis. So you're serving those different audiences, which is quite exciting, and Tamil audiences.
Is there any kind of particular cinema that really works across board?
I think stories that talk about human rights is something that's always very popular. I think that people can understand that kind of the struggle of the common man. I think that obviously ties into Prakash's work as well. So I think that those things cover, no matter where you are from, you can identify with those characters and the uniqueness of their situation. So it may be in a small village in Bihar or somewhere, or it might be in Maharashtra, but you can identify with that human story. That, for example, like Satyajit Ray's films, you identify with the village, even though you've never been to a village in Bengal. You can tell it was Patapanchali. It's one of the world great classics, but everybody knows where that story of that mother and child and the struggles. If you're an American or if you're a British person, you identify with those characters, and that's great cinema. You can identify with the people in that brief second. They may be from an alien world, and
Anything special for this coming the next festival? Anything special that you've lined up and you can tell us?
Yes, so we're looking at obviously great independent films this year for next year's program in July. We're also looking at emerging talent. I've just come from Film Bazaar in Goa, where I've seen lots of young creative talents coming up, and there's opportunities to see that work. We will also be, I can't talk about it yet, but we're also talking about doing a profile on some of the colonial the history of Britain and India is obviously a very complicated one, both love and not so much love. And so we'll be showcasing a group of films which will uniquely be about the British, times, and about how the Indian filmmakers showcasing works about the struggle with the British, obviously, and because colonialism isn't taught in British schools, and I think that's very important that we don't. That as British people, we're also not addressing our colonial past. So I think it's very important to understand the past to move forward.
Yeah. It's a very, I think it's a very pertinent subject for the British to understand their colonial past. Yeah.
So I think that's something that that's kind of a secret, well, not a secret now, kind of aspect of next year's festival. We're thinking about how can we tell that story obviously in a fair and but a measured way, but from an Indian filmmaker way. So there's lots of great films that we'll be looking at for next year's festival.
Is there anything, Prakash, you feel that they should add more to the festival that will involve India's participation better? You feel there's something that elements to that?
I mean, we are talking about I think what it has done so far has remained limited to an audience in UK. I think it's high time that people understand the value of this work, and more people, begin to know about the London Indian Film Festival, and it encourages more younger filmmakers to participate, to become a part of such a festival, and it has done, so as I said, picking up films or encouraging movies which eventually went on to become important films. I think here is an opportunity to make London Indian Film Festival popular, important, and also eventually, because today we make films and we don't get exhibition, but festivals add on to the popularity, and eventually to the OTT platform or cinemas. If a film goes to Cannes, a film goes to Toronto, it's now talked around. They talk about it, and so London Indian Film Festival should also get that position, which is what I think.
Carrie, initially you said that you wanted a lot of women directors, and
it already has a percentage. 40% of movies are compulsorily made by women.
That's our target. Yes,
that's the target.
But do you think you can? I mean, is it on merit, or
I think
how are you managing that?
You're right. I mean, I think the issue is: are we just going to show films because they're made by women filmmakers, or are we going to show great films?
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is that that women, because they're my minority of filmmakers. Obviously, most filmmakers are men. It's about that women filmmakers are quite often have very unusual and fresh stories to tell. And what if any festival is looking for is fresh voices, very individualistic and very fresh perspectives on life. And I think that what's interesting is that many women filmmakers are actually showing those kind of, making those kind of films. They're showing films about a female perspective, which is not the mainstream perspective. So I think that actually quality and freshness is certainly, or uniqueness comes with the women filmmakers. So we don't publicize that we're doing women filmmakers as such. We say that we're doing great films, and it just happens also to be to our delight that a lot of those films are
made by
women.
But of late, I think in the last, say, decade or so, numerous women filmmakers have emerged.
Yeah.
And are doing good work, writing and making movies. I mean, I have an example right in my own house.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah, and I think that. So I think that kind of looking for that individual stories and looking for something new is what all festivals should aspire to. It's not just copying what's been shown before. I think a lot of festivals tend to just regurgitate what they did last year, or just replicate what other festivals are doing. And I think it's very important for us to to break the envelope. We are, you know, a much more edgy festival than some other festivals. We, for example, we also take risks that other festivals won't do. For example, many years ago now, it seems like we did the world premiere of Delhi Belly, for example, which I mean, Amir Khan wasn't sure what to do. I remember when they weren't sure what to do with the film because how successful it would be, because it was quite a quirky film. And then we did the world premiere in London, and people were falling off the chairs laughing. You know, it was such a joyous film, and that went on to a huge success. We had Anubhav Sinha's Article 15, which we did the world premiere of that in London for opening night a few years ago. And again, that was quite a controversial issue film, and people weren't sure how it was going to do. But because it broke in London first, and again, the audience went crazy about it for the opening night, then that film, that wave went back to India, funny enough. It's because it had been shown in London and there was a kind of glamour to that, or, you know, an acceptance that it had been shown in London. So I think so it actually helps the film sometimes, even the big films, that become the films that become big films. So I think that's very exciting. And and it's also wonderful to know as a film programmer or a director that you've actually helped the careers of young filmmakers who've gone on to become, you know, some of them have gone on to become very large, successful names in India, both South India and North India. And that's very exciting to have helped start their careers off by having their world premieres at our festival and seeing their careers, you know, climb and climb. And so that's really a wonderful thing about running a festival.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered a bit. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. Thank you.